this video is going to be different. Normally I talk about technology and cool stuff and gadgets, but not this time. This is something I think is far more important in this episode of Bruce's Take. You know, in our country, we've began this practice, and maybe this has been going on my whole life and I never really noticed, but it is shaming people who practice things that we don't really like as a group, as a collective group. For example, if you're overweight, fat shaming. If you dress inappropriately, we have shaming for that. We have shaming for just about all kinds of activities, and it seems to be relatively okay with people. But what if you're a child living in poverty? Do we have the right to shame you by denying you a lunch at school or humiliating you by taking that lunch away at school? Well, this is what this episode of Bruce's Take is all about. Now, you see this person right here? This is Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand moved to the United States, immigrated in the early 20s, and became a writer, and is best known for two novels, one called The Fountainhead and the other called Atlas Shrugged. Now, Atlas Shrugged is a book about a dystopian future of a welfare state, and the hero of the book, or the supposed hero, a John Galt, convinces the makers in the country, the people who own and produce and create things, to leave and set up their own separate society, thus leaving the rest of the world to fall apart. That's kind of the premise of the book. Now, she practiced a form of, or she believed in what she called objectivism. And she believed in unfettered, laissez-faire capitalism. She did not support things such as food stamps or public schools or any kind of social spending. In effect, Ayn Rand promoted the every man for himself philosophy. How did that work out for her? Well, ultimately, after years and years of treatment for cancer, she ultimately ended up on Social Security and collecting benefits from a program she earlier just had nothing to do with and didn't like. This guy right here, this is Paul Ryan. He's Speaker of the House of Representatives. He has only had, that I know, only one job in the private sector, and that was driving the Wienermobile, when he was in college. He has publicly come out against the free lunch program in schools, and he has publicly stated that an empty soul is far better than an empty stomach. In other words, he believes the free lunch program promotes kids not having dignity. It's bad for their dignity and self-worth, and that they should work and earn their keep and not rely on those nasty government giveaways such as free lunches, even though we're giving billions of dollars worth of free lunches to major corporations. But that's the point of another video. Now, this lady right here, this is Stacy. We're going to call her Lunch Lady for the purpose of this video. She worked at a cafeteria in Pennsylvania. Recently, she quit her job in protest after having to take away 2 hot lunches from students who, on the first Friday of the first week of school, did not have enough money on their account to get a hot lunch. She had to take them away. Apparently, over the summer, the school system come up with a new rule that said if you're in grades up to 6th grade and you are behind on your lunch account or have no money on your account, the only thing you can have is a sandwich. If you're an older kid, that's grade 7 and up, you get nothing. And these lunches were taken away in front of the other kids. I guess this is good for their dignity, Paul. I just don't really get it. So, here is my take. Why are we making children the target of political policies that makes them feel humiliated and unwanted? What message are we actually sending to those children? Let's leave the adults out of the picture for a second. Are we saying that if you live in poverty, you have no value? Or are we saying this is a great lesson in dignity? Because I personally don't see where you could possibly learn to feel dignity by being humiliated and hungry at the same time. This is a national embarrassment. Now, I believe most people are basically good people, and if they seen a hungry child, they would share their meal with them. However, what they do is they hide behind their politicians or school councils, etc., in order to implement these mean-spirited policies that are nothing more than an extreme political agenda. Look, people living in poverty are not asking generally for a handout, they're asking for a hand up. But as long as Americans, or a lot of Americans, believe that poverty is the end result of lack of ambition rather than the lack of opportunity, these kind of things are going to continue. Most recently, a young man named Caden, who is in Howe, Michigan, watched a friend of his have his hot lunch taken away. Now, he started a program in order to raise money to pay off the lunch money owed by the parents of kids that weren't qualifying to get the free lunches at school. That's good on him, but we really shouldn't have to depend on charity as a society to do the right thing. I want to get your opinion in the comments down below. Bruce Naylor, take care.